I'm waiting. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. This is Roxana Bangura of the Roxana Bangura channel here on YouTube, as well as the Bangura Chronicles on Facebook and Patreon and the Bangura Institute. Welcome to the channel, and I share my life with you here in Mexico and beyond, along with my daughter, Amaris. And I have the pleasure of having with me a repeat guest. Her name is Camille Flores, author Flores. She's a writer of several books on life in Mexico, Surviving Mexico series, particularly aimed at a how-to guide on living here and living here successfully, particularly in the rural areas of Mexico, as well as finding work, sustainable employment. She's a children's author, and now she's digging into traditional medicine here in Mexico, herbal medicine, which I'm super excited about because this is something that I've been interested in for many, many years, and now I have the opportunity to learn a lot. So welcome, Miss Flores, welcome.
Thanks. Happy to be here again.
All right. I just want to let you know that we're going to be sharing screens here. She's going to be sharing her information that she's gathered on her research on herbal medicine here in Mexico and different home remedies. So bear with us. This is the first time I'll be doing this sort of thing on the StreamYard application or platform here on that's joined with YouTube. So bear with us as we're literally learning as we go. So please be patient, and I'll hand the floor over to you, Author Flores.
Well, I'm not sure if we're ready to jump in quite yet. You mentioned a few different things you wanted to talk about, why herbal medicine was of interest to you personally. Maybe start with that, and then I can sort of answer that.
Well, let me ask you this, and please feel free to ask questions. This is very interesting to me, and I know there are a lot of people that are interested in finding holistic ways to take care of themselves, kind of going back as opposed to moving away from more traditional or westernized medicine. What made you research this topic? What got you into traditional remedies?
Well, my mom was always interested into natural things. We always had a garden, and growing up, we did a lot of wildcrafting. We would go hunt flowers or wild grapes or things like that, and we would do that as a family. Her and my brother and I. When I moved to Mexico, I realized that I had no idea what any of the plants were. Like, I could not identify any of them. The terrain that I moved to was so different. I used to live in a river valley, and this is a desert area. I had no idea. So starting with plants that I thought I recognized, I started doing some more examination on those. And my husband's mother and his grandmothers, when we would go places, would mention to me, oh, let me get some of these. I'll use this in my tea for this ailment that I have. Or I'm going to give this to the neighbor. She's been complaining about this. And she'd pick some flowers and things like that. And so, of course, from there, I'm like, what? What do you use that for? How do you use it? What is this called? It was a difficult process because the names that they're called are not the botanical names. So, for example, one of the plants we're going to talk about today is called Gordolovo. Okay. And if you go and look that up, it's going to translate as common mullein, for example. It is not. Okay. That's sort of like
It's not mullein? It's not mullein.
It's a type of mullein. It's not common mullein. So positive plant identification for me was very difficult. And I have a backlog of plants that someone has mentioned this is an herbal remedy, but I haven't been able to identify yet. I've tried to use some of those plant apps now that I have a phone that can do that. But they're not accurate. Like yesterday, my husband brought some purple flowers. They had like feathery look to them. I'd never seen these flowers before. Okay, let's try my plant app. Okay, I did it 5 times. I got 5 different plants, and none of them looked like the plant. So I was really disappointed because he couldn't tell me what the name of it was. And you know, there are characteristics like the leaves had a heavy smell. These flowers were very feathery, but with that, I can't identify the plant.
Okay.
So then an additional problem is when I go to the herb guy in the tianguis, most of the plants that he sells as remedies are dried. Okay, so if I find Gordolovo, for example, in the wild, and then I look at the dried plant, I may not see that it's exactly the same plant because, you know, it'll change colors as it dries. It'll have a different texture. And yeah, so again, the herb guy was helpful. He tells me this is for this, or I can, if I know the name of a plant, I can ask him for it specifically. Recently, I was looking for Flor de Manita. Okay,
and what is that? What is for? What is it used for?
It is used mostly as a sleeping aid. It is an interesting plant. It's called Devil's Hand. The flower is red and it looks like a hand. Like it looks like it has like a little cuff and a hand on it. I wanted to buy this. Like I wanted my own Flor de Manita because it had such good, like it provides hormonal balance. It works good as a sedative and things like that. But when I go to the viverias there, nobody knew what it was. I mean, they can look it up on their phone. Yeah, this is a plant, but we don't have it. Okay, even though supposedly it's a natural plant in the area I live in, right? So I go to the guy at the market and I ask him for that.
So this is like the Mercado, the open air markets?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So I go there and he knows exactly what I'm talking about. And he gives me this thing. He says he can only sell me, the minimum amount is 30 pesos. I'm like, I'll take it. Okay. So I buy these and because they're dried, they're not red anymore. So I wouldn't have made a connection between the flower in its blooming state and the dried state. So
it totally changes the composition.
Okay. Yeah. So that's been a problem for me here in Mexico. And of course, I want to be positive when I identify something because I don't want to poison myself.
Absolutely. No.
Yeah. So it's been a long process. And I've been collecting these little mimeographs, little stories about the process or my positive plant identification. Once I can positively identify it, then I can go to scientific publications. And some of the plants have studies done on their effectiveness for this or that. Not all of them. There's one that's also miscategorized. Tila, okay, Flor de Tila is another one that is used for in a sleeping aid, okay? And when you search for it on the internet, it says that it's a type of linden tree. It is not. It is a tree that is only native here to Mexico. And so it's miscategorized. It's not the same plant. It's not the same species even, okay? The flowers are different, everything. So anyway, when I was doing research on that, I found only 2 or 3 articles that correctly identified it by scientists who grew up with herbalists. Their grandmothers would use these herbal remedies. And when they became scientists, then they did research proving or disproving their medicinal use. And that was another one that was a surprise to me because, you know, if you go to a lot of the herbal sites are like translated into Spanish from English other sites. Okay. So when they made this,
so many things get lost in translation.
Well, it's not even the same plant is what I'm saying here. When they translate it, because linden trees is Tilia, okay, Tilia.
Tilia, okay.
The Flor de Tila is a different plant. So when they translate it, they just assumed it was the same thing because you can use linden as a sedative. That's a common use for it in European and American herbalism, but it's not the same plant that grows here in Mexico.
Okay.
So that was another issue that comes up. It comes up quite often, actually, unfortunately.
Okay.
And I have several herbal books written in different not centuries, but different decades, I guess.
Okay.
And so every time I'm doing like a composite of an herb, I go through manually each of these herb books, and then I go and look at the scientific studies, and then I go and see if there's any other information that I find. And it really takes me a long time.
So it's almost like you're down this rabbit hole.
Yes.
Finding this, and is this, I mean, is it not, I mean, there's a lot of things that you're coming across just not formally documented. You mentioned, you know, children of traditional medicinal people, you know, have, you know, gotten educated formally, and then they're turning that information. So is this not cataloged well, or is it the
It's
translation?
not. In fact, some plants haven't even been identified. For example, I have a friend who is a university professor in, I forget where she is, but she got in her university, they compiled an herbal book from the Mystica women there, the herbalists that were there. And she sent me a copy of the book, and I'm just like, oh, this is wonderful. However, there were, of the 20 plants that were mentioned in there, 6 or 7 of them, they have not positively identified. They have only the local name for it, not the botanical name. So there's obviously no research been done on that. But
a lot of oral tradition, a lot of oral tradition, informal. Informal. Well, I think you're onto something very big here. This is very exciting. What I want to know, and I'm sure maybe some people who are viewing, we have some people watching now, please feel free to ask questions of author Flores. She's studied this, and this is a great learning opportunity. Gripa, which is like a cold, runny nose cold. And I guess I would also want to know about fever. Do you know what plants one can use, or what teas one can drink for gripa, or cold, the common cold?
Yes, actually, I do. And for fever, I haven't verified any of the herbs that I've studied. I've looked at 4 or 5 different ones that are used traditionally, but I haven't been able to verify their effectiveness in combating fever. So I haven't, I don't talk about those yet until because you don't want to say, oh, you should use this, and then it actually causes harm. So this is another thing with herbs. Herbs are powerful medicine. They need to be used carefully.
Absolutely.
At the top of my head, the thing that is most commonly prescribed for gripa is limon, which is not lemon, but of course lime. And that is prescribed with everything. Okay, so whatever tea you have, add limon to it, and honey. And both of those have antibacterial components to them. So they do combat different types of gripa. Gripa here can refer to lots of different ailments. Like it could be a respiratory fungal infection, it could be the cold, it could be the flu, it could be COVID. You know, they use that as sort of a catch-all. They feel runny nose, stuffiness, things like that. Another one that is a recent investigation I did was romero. And my Rosemary, yes. My son got COVID last year, very bad, at the beginning of the pandemic. And this is one of the things that I give him to help when he has breathing difficulties. You can just boil water and put a sprig of fresh romero in there, and then add limon and miel, and there you go. Okay. It's as simple as that, and it helps him breathe.
Okay.
Another one is garlic. Surprisingly enough, garlic is not native to Mexico. It came with the Spaniards along with their pigs. So I don't know what they were using before garlic, but garlic is another thing that is prescribed and has medicinal properties that help. If you want to make a garlic limon tea, it's awful strong, let me tell you.
No, thank you.
You add honey to it until you can palatable,
Yeah.
but it does help with the entire congestion.
Oh, yeah, garlic is good stuff.
Yeah, so that's another common one. And it's easy, you know, they're not things that you have to go far to
No, these are
obtain.
accessible everyday items, yeah.
Okay. The one I wanted to share today is a cough remedy. And it has
let me know if you want me to share the screen now.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, as I said, disclaimer, this is the first time I'm doing this, sharing the screen on this platform. So it's a learning curve for me, and we're sharing the screen. Let me see, share screen, and entire screen. I'm gonna mute myself now, okay?
Okay. All right, so I'm going to walk through this is just one cough remedy, an example. There are different herbs that are included here that are used typically in different cough remedies or remedies for la gripa. So let's take a look here. The first one I already mentioned is Gordolovo. Okay, it is not common mullein, but it is a type of mullein. It's more like a densiflor mullein rather than common mullein. However, I want you
Hold
to
on a second.
Yeah. Is it not sharing? Do I need to come out of this?
Yeah, come out of it because it's not letting me. I'm clicking on share audio, entire screen, and then it's not, you know, the share button that's supposed to light up blue, it's not doing that. So let me see, entire window. No, I want to share. Let me see window. It's not even letting me do that.
Okay, let me stop sharing here and let's see if we can start again. Okay.
Okay, so strange. We just did it. Okay, so
I'm gonna try sharing my screen from here.
Okay.
This one. Now, do you have access?
There
to
we
that?
go. Yes, this is what we didn't do before. Okay, share screen. There we go. Share screen. Really. Add to stream. Okay. Okay. There we go. I think we're okay now. So I've added you to the stream. Hold on a second. And let me go through the process of sharing again. Again, bear with me. This is the first time I'm doing this. StreamYard wants to share the contents of your screen. Well, are you sharing it? Because it's not my screen I'm sharing. You're the one who's sharing. So let's just make the assumption that they can see. Okay, they should be able to see because I see what you shared. So go ahead.
Okay. All right. If they don't, maybe somebody can type that into the chat. They can't.
I hope you can share the screen, please. I see 2 people watching. Let us know if you could see, because I see it on my screen. But you just continue away. Hope you all can see it.
Okay. Gordolovo. Okay. As I said, this is a type of mullein, not the type that it's commonly translated as. Okay. And I want you to pay attention to the little note that I have on this particular screen. It says, although this is most commonly mullein, it is also the name of several other varieties of plants in Mexico. And they are not mullein. For example, the greater burdock, plume poppy, tapered cudweed. I don't even know how to pronounce that one. And coltsfoot. These are not Gordolovo. So when going to a marketplace and getting a packet of Gordolovo, or I know you can order some of these online, you need to make sure of what the plant is before you use it, because you could have a reaction or it might cause an unexpected effect. So this is a problem with a lot of herbalism in that the names are regional rather than one name in all of the country. So Gordolovo has a woolly stem tower. So when you see it, whether it's in its fresh form or in its dried form, it's going to be fuzzy. You're going to have a fuzzy, soft flower ball type thing. Okay, so these other plants that sometimes are known as Gordolovo are not like that. So, okay.
And what is it used for?
Here's what I'm going to show here.
Okay.
On this one. Gordolovo has other names as well. So if you ask for Gordolovo and the herbalist is not familiar with that, see what other types of names you might find it. It is often used for cough, which is why it's in this cough remedy that I'm talking about today, sore throat and respiratory issues, okay? It can be used externally, okay? It has some antibacterial properties, and it's used in Germany, and mullein is used in Germany for respiratory ailments, okay? And of course, anti-inflammatory. So for sore throat, cough, respiratory issues, it helps reduce the inflammation caused by those conditions, okay? So this is just one part of this. Now, the next one is probably found anywhere in your, this is one of the most popular plants in Mexico, okay? The Bugambilia morada, okay, or also known as the camelina. The purple and pink varieties are used in cough remedies. Now, if you look at the picture here, you can see that there are two white flowers. The part that's used in the remedies are the bracts, the actual leaves. They're not flowers. So keep that in mind when using this. And whatever you use Bougainvillea in, it's going to turn pink. Okay, so whatever remedy you have, whatever drink you have, it will become a bright pink color from the color of these bracts, okay? All right, and what is it used for? It's used again for cough. This is a very common cough remedy, also for asthma and other respiratory conditions, okay? It has antinociceptive properties, which means it reduces the pain level. So for sore throats, for chest pain because of cough, this will help reduce that. And of course, it's also anti-inflammatory, okay? The taste is very mild, as is Gordolovo. You're not going to really taste anything. It doesn't taste pink or anything. So these two particular herbs don't have a strong flavor. They're palatable.
People make a tea out of this? How is
Yes.
it taken? A tea? Okay.
At the end, I'll show you the full recipe, but these are the herbs,
Okay.
individual herbs, okay?
Okay.
Notice here, though, that the camelina comes in different colors, okay? The red ones are not used in cough remedies, okay? Only the purple or pink ones. The red ones are used in insecticides. It's not poisonous, but you don't want to use one when you should be using the other, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The third one is Manzanilla, commonly known as chamomile. Again, this did not come, this is not native to Mexico. This came with the Spaniards. The Spanish priests brought it in their herbal gardens when they came. With this one, although most people can identify chamomile, you need to be aware that there are other types of flowers that are very similar. In the note says false chamomile, fleabane, and oxeye daisy. Often these are misidentified as Manzanilla. So be careful in your identification for that. Okay. And what is it used for? Okay, it is a digestive aid. This helps calm your stomach. It also has sedative properties, so it helps relax you. And again, we have the anti-inflammatory property here and antispasmodic, which makes it a good digestive herb. Did you have a question?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
And antioxidant. So it's good for you. Okay. You do need to be aware that some people are allergic to this. My brother, for example, is allergic to chamomile, and it will give you itchy eyes, a rash, or vomiting. So be careful with that. Okay. Next herb, Jamaica. This is my favorite plant. Okay. Jamaica is often found in the markets here in a juice. Okay, the juice is a sour flavored. So when you add this to your remedy, it will actually make the tea sour flavored and dye it a red color. When you use the Jamaica, you are not using the flowers or leaves mostly. Okay, there are a few exceptions depending on the remedy. What you're using is this red part. I don't know if you can see my hand there, but the red part that encloses the flower. That is the part that you use in the remedies and to make the juice. Okay, not the flower or the leaf. Okay. All right, and what is it used for? Jamaica is an excellent herb to use for hormonal fluctuations. This is what they recommend for menopause, for PMS. Have a glass of Jamaica, either cold or hot, depending on your preference. It also has anti-inflammatory properties, and it how do I want to say this? It improves your mood, so it makes you happier. I love Jamaica, really. And it provides immune support. Okay, so
very big in the Afro and Caribbean communities.
It's a wonderful plant. I love it. In fact, I bought one the other day at the Viveria. I was so excited. I got my first Jamaica plant.
I need that. I need to buy a Jamaica plant because I'm in the market for plants. That's what I need to buy.
All right. And there's a precaution here. If you drink too much of it, of course, it can cause stomach upset. So you don't want too much of a good thing. Is not a good thing. All right. All right. Now, the next one is albahaca, which is basil. Most herbs that start with the AL are herbs that came with the Spanish, because like albahaca, alfalfa, things like that. However, Mexico does have its own native basil. Okay, cinnamon basil is a Mexican basil, and that's what's pictured in here, in this picture here. Okay,
does it taste like cinnamon? Why is it that name?
It does. It has a cinnamon flavor to it. Yeah, rather than an herby flavor. So it's a little bit different. Okay. But for general purposes, you can use any type of basil. It doesn't have to be this particular type.
It's one of my favorite herbs. I love basil.
Good. Now, what is it good for? Okay, we got a list here. In Mexico, albahaca is usually used for asthma and lung inflammation. Okay, it improves immune strength and is an effective treatment for migraines. Okay, and then I have a little information here that the first use, it's probably predates the Spanish conquest, because albahaca de monte, mountain basil, cinnamon basil, is native to Mexico. But of course, any basil will do. They all have good things for you. All right, then we have canela. There are a variety of canela types. The most commonly used is the cinnamon xylenicum. Okay. That's the most commonly used in Mexico because it's easier to crush with a metate. Okay, it is thinner than the other type of cinnamon, but the properties that it has are the same. So you can use the other type, but I'm just saying this is the most common in Mexico. All right, and cinnamon, of course, is not native to Mexico. It was brought in 1690 by a particular Jesuit physician from Germany. He actually used cinnamon in all sorts of remedies, which I wouldn't recommend. He used it to cure deafness and blindness and had magical properties for him. But it does have medicinal properties. In Mexico, it is used for fever and cough and colds. Also to regulate menstruation, teething problems, and to treat hangovers. Okay, it has wound healing properties, so it is anti-inflammatory and reduces the pain sensation. It also is an effective fungicide. So if your respiratory infection is caused by a fungus, this will help. Okay.
Okay.
So as you can see, we have a variety of different herbs that treat different things, because if you have a cough, you're not exactly sure what is causing it. Okay.
That's true.
All right. Now let's talk about Melatonin honey. Okay. This is sacred honey. In the picture here is the type of bee that makes this honey. It's a Melatonin bichia. Okay. It is a stingless bee and found in the Yucatan. If you can get this honey, this is the honey you want to use for everything. Okay.
Miel sagrado.
And it has better properties than regular honey. Okay. The texture, of course, is also different. It's more watery. It's not as prone to crystallization. And it has a different taste. It's a very distinct taste when compared to regular honey. Okay. But you can use any organic honey for this particular remedy that I'm going to show you. Okay. Because it's hard to get this outside of the Yucatan. But in that area, you can find it. All right. Honey is good for you. It's antimicrobial, antiseptic, and anti-inflammatory. Okay. The Melatonin honey it has more antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties than regular honey. So this in the picture here is a picture of what a Melatonin honey hive would look like. It looks different than, the other type of structure. The bees themselves are different. Okay. Okay. So here is the remedy. Okay. You can use these probably in their dried form or fresh form. But when you mix them, you want to leave it open so that if you're going to keep it long term, that everything dries properly. Okay. The recipe calls for different parts. So if you have a section, you need to the problem with herbal remedies is there's not always a set measurement. So in this one, it calls for different parts. If we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 6 parts. Okay. In this case, 2 parts of that will be from the Gordolovo flowers. Okay. 1 part from the Camelina, 1 part Manzanilla, 1 part Jamaica, but the calyxus, not the flowers. 1 part of albahaca leaves, and then a pinch of ground canela and miel. Okay. All of these, you are going to boil together, except for the honey and the canela. Boil the parts together, allow it to steep, strain it, then add the honey and canela. And I have a little notation there that your tea will be pink red from the ingredients. Okay, so you need to expect it to be that color. So that is just one example of a remedy. This one includes several plants, which is why I chose it for today's. But there are simpler ones, like we mentioned with the Romero tea. It's just Romero hot water and honey, or the garlic cold buster, garlic, limon, and honey, and it's all set. But this one has several different types. And these are things that are easily found either in the mercado or in your backyard. A lot of these are easily found. So, absolutely. Questions about this particular process?
Does anyone have any questions? I don't see any comments. I see people watching, but I don't see any comments. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask anytime. What I wanted to talk about was also dengue, and I don't know if I'm cucamonga. You're familiar with these sort of infections from insects. This is something that, particularly here in Veracruz, is a worry. I would say late summer, early fall, when we have our rainy season. My daughter got she contracted dengue in 2018. Very listless, fever, very weak. And I know they say to drink coconut water. And I think there was a particular type of leaf to consume. I don't remember the leaf or whatever, but if you can share some of medicinal remedies for that, dengue and cucamonga, I think it's
cucamonga, yes. Now, I do remember one particular one that I did recently that specifically mentioned cucamonga. Dengue, a lot of malarial treatments also work for dengue. And I have to pull up my book. So I'm going to pull it up real quick.
Is malaria even an issue here in Mexico? Oh, it's been eradicated. Oh, she left the thing. Okay. She should be able to come back. We're going to talk about dengue and cucamonga. These are infestations that. Okay, there she is. These are infestations from insects. Okay, you were saying?
Okay, you were going to ask me something though. What were you asking?
No, I'm saying with the dengue and the cucamonga and malaria. Malaria, hasn't it been eradicated in Mexico?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know.
No. Let me think. Which one was it that had the cucamonga?
So I didn't know that. I didn't know malaria was still an issue in Mexico.
No, it's still a problem. I mean, tuberculosis is even still a huge problem here in Mexico.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, okay. It's like in most years, tuberculosis kills more people than any other disease here in Mexico.
Really?
A lot of it has to do with the unsanitary conditions of some areas, lack of medical treatment, things like that. So,
what a shame.
Give me a second here because I'm trying to remember which plant it was.
Papaya leaves for dengue. Gracias.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. Gracias. Thank you, Anna.
All right. Let me pull up my papaya little thing here. Peyote. Nope, that's not it. It's in the other book.
Yeah, papaya leaves. Papaya is such, and the seed, the leaf, such a powerful fruit. Papaya is.
It is. It actually is also immune boosting. So that is.
I'm not big on it. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. But if you add honey to it, it's powerful.
Yeah, honey or yogurt I can consume it easier. But I'm not big on papaya.
Okay, let me see. Yes, it also treats parasites. It's a parasite, traditional parasite treatment here in Mexico.
Yes.
Very powerful. Yes, leaf infusions are prescribed for liver damage caused by dengue. Okay, because the leaves are hypoglycemic and antioxidant. Okay. So
we have a question. How would one prepare the papaya leaves? So Anna says with lime and salt is very good. Yeah. You know, that's the Mexican way, lime, pepper. That's like the typical Mexican way. But the truly fatal wants to know how you would prepare papaya leaves.
Okay, now the research that I have found is that it's often prepared in an infusion. Okay, so an infusion is you would actually just take the leaves and you would clean them to make sure they don't have anything on them. And then you could either chop them into small bits or leave them whole, and you just boil them for until the nutrients comes from the leaves to the plants. Usually it's about 10 minutes. Okay. And then you can strain it and let it cool to drink it and add honey and whatever else you're going to add there. But yeah, an infusion from the leaves is just done by that. So it's a simple process. But yes, you can eat it with salt and limon.
Yeah. Some tajin. Yeah, tajin. Yes. Yeah, that's good stuff. We were talking about dengue or cucamonga?
Dengue. That was dengue.
Okay, dengue. So that's what you could do for dengue, how she just said to prepare the leaves. And cucamonga, can you know what bug and what that, because we've never been exposed to it, thank God. But I know it's also an issue here in Veracruz. Do you know anything about cucamonga?
I remember doing a research on one, and I don't remember. I've done 60 plant research, like plant things, and I don't remember which ones it was.
Anna's saying it's oh gosh, Anna. Anna's chikungunya. Chikungunya. It sounds like a West African word, but I don't know it probably is for all I know.
Let me look at real quick in my.
Okay, she's gonna look it up. I say cucamonga, I'm mispronouncing it. Sangre de Cristo. ¿Qué es it? What is Sangre de Cristo? Is that a type of leaf? The blood of Christ? What is that?
I'm not familiar.
Or is that the name? Is that the translation of the name, Anna? My girlfriend Anna, she's a attorney and a federal translator. Sangre de Cristo, is that the translation for the name, or is that the remedy for the name? I'm asking her because she's putting in the.
Right. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that particular plant. It sounds like a plant, a Mexican plant.
Sangre, blood of Christ.
Right. Yeah, it's a plant. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it's a
not a plant.
plant. Okay.
I haven't looked up, but the one that I'm working on is citronella, is a plant that will help with cucamonga. Okay. That is one. And Sangre de Cristo. Let me see if I can pull that up.
She's saying common fumatory, Fumaria officinalis.
You smoke it? Is that what you're saying? Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Common fumatory. Yes. And I'll just put the wiki link in the chat there. So
okay, so she's going to hook you all
take a look at
Thank you, Anna.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. This is another plant I can add to my list of things that that is the one, and citronella is the other one that I came up with. That is also used as a remedy here. Okay, I'm just putting it in the private chat, so I don't think I can't make it in the comments for some reason. Okay.
If you send it to me in the Facebook Messenger, and then I'll put it in the chat.
All right. So this is one, citronella. I'm just going to put the wiki ones. Now, remember, wiki is not the best source, but it's a good place to start. Okay.
Okay. I'll put it in
the other one was lemongrass, which is...
Oh, I love lemongrass.
Yes, lemongrass is also similar to citronella in its properties. So let me...
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the... Put it in the link.
And lemongrass, of course, is not native to Mexico, but it is commonly found here. So this is an easy one you can find in the marketplace. Okay. Let me go here. Okay, Sangre de Cristo. I'm not sure about that one. I will have to ask about that one to see if it's easily available here. Right. So yeah, that's
which one is, what did you say? Which one is easily available?
Lemongrass. Lemongrass
and
citronella you will find at any marketplace.
I don't know if I've come across it since I've been here. I don't remember, but it's definitely one of my favorite things to have when I'm having certain teas or Asian food. I love lemongrass.
You know where you need to ask? The ladies that put up the fresh vegetables that have their own little umbrellas, they usually have packets of lemongrass wrapped up. They're like wrapped up in like a container, like they wrap it up like this, and they'll have it there alongside their other, those that sell chamomile, and usually fresh vegetables is where they have it.
Yeah,
they usually also
the indigenous people would have that.
Cola de caballo. The people that sell cola de caballo also have lemongrass. That's like one of the, when they plant it, they plant them near each other. And so they have them to sell. So
you got to go to the markets, got to go to the mercados where the, the farm to table, people are bringing things from their gardens and their farms to sell. And that's where you can get these wonderful remedies. Diente de león, ¿qué es eso? Teeth of lion?
No, it's a dandelion.
Okay, dandelion tea. Okay, the way she spelled it. Okay. Yes, dandelion is powerful.
What it's called, diente de león. I actually don't have diente de león here in this area. So it is not an herb that I can use. It's not what I've done any research on.
And what is your area? We didn't say.
Deserty.
Okay. And what state are you in?
I live on the border of Guanajuato and Michoacan. So I'm sort of like in a valley, and then to the left are all the mountains of Michoacan, which a lot of these specialized plants come from. So I have sort of that advantage. I can find a lot of the things at the marketplace. Diente de león is one that I would have to ask for, but it is found more commonly in other areas of Mexico.
Okay. What about there's a thing, people who come here, digestive issues, irritable bowel, intestinal issues, gastric intestinal issues. That is something I think a lot of people who migrate here, move here, may have to adjust to living here. What would you recommend?
Don't eat chili.
Yeah, right. See what? Here's my thing. I come from a chili background. You know, I grew up. My mom has a habanero garden. You know, West Africans are big on pepper. So I grew up with that, but I just don't have the stomach for it anymore and other things. So I really need to fortify my gut. Like my gut is really in peril right now. And I have to eliminate dairy like altogether. I have to really eliminate dairy, really reduce it. I have to be very mindful of oils. I can't eat greasy foods. What could I do? I take probiotics. I practice intermittent fasting. What else do I do? I'll take an activated charcoal. So those are things that I do by habit. But what else can I do in terms of whole herbal, medicinal, holistically?
These are the herbs that I would suggest. Okay, ginger. Ginger is a great thing. You can include that in your food. You can use it as a tea. Okay,
you're right. You're right. Mm-hmm.
Romero, rosemary that we talked about is also a very good digestive aid. Albahaca, basil. Okay. And any of the mints, if you can get the spearmint, regular mint, any of those.
Yerba buena. Okay.
Yerba buena. Those are excellent. And drink those at several cups a day. Don't limit yourself. Okay. Go ahead and drink them. So Jamaica is another one. You don't want to, of course, sweeten it too much, but Jamaica will also help with digestion. Those are the ones that come to mind right now. The problem is mostly the greasy foods. So if you can switch to a different type of oil, olive oil helps reduce the oil. Coconut oil, which is, for me, it's really hard to find here, coconut oil, but that's another way to reduce the...
We use an air fryer, but the problem is we had, there's a chicken that they sell at Soriana Asado, you know, cooked chicken. It's delicious. And we ate that, and for some reason between the chicken and the pizza that we had that day, so I have to really be mindful of what I consume, to the point where I think I need to steam most of my food, which I enjoy eating like that. I love eating steamed vegetables and steamed fish, but I just can't do anything fried for some time. But I do ginger. I'm going to incorporate, like you said, rosemary and basil. On occasion, I drink Jamaica, not often. And I love anything mint. So these are good suggestions.
Okay.
So
I did do a section of stomach issues in my cough or my cold and flu book. Let me pull that up here.
Okay, good.
Let's see. Headache, sore eyes. Okay. So geranium root is actually good for the stomach, but it has to be from the red geranium. Okay. So you actually grind the geranium root up and allow it to steep overnight, and then you drink a spoonful as you need it. So it's good for that.
Okay.
Geranium flowers, but again, and the leaves. My husband actually goes outside when his stomach's upset and just plucks leaves right off of the geranium plant. Sometimes he puts salt on it, but sometimes he just eats it. Okay. That's a remedy that's instantaneous. Another instantaneous one is Wandering Jew is the name I know it as, but it's called Sinvergüenza in some areas. It is Transidium zebrina, I think. I have that one listed someplace, but it's the one that just goes all over the place. Let me pull it up here. That one you'll find all over the place. If you can get the purple version, that's the better version. Okay, it's a more potent version. But if you can get the variegated type, and I put the link in the Facebook chat there, Roxana, so you can pull that.
Okay, let me get that. These last two, right? Or just one?
I think it's just one.
Okay.
That plant actually has like something in it that coats your stomach. It works as well as Pepto-Bismol.
Oh my!
It is immediate. You can make a tea out of it, but I think it tastes awful.
Okay.
So what I do is when I have like indigestion or I had something fried I shouldn't have, I just go and get a leaf or two off the plant, and I make sure they're clean, of course, because spiders. But I just eat it like that. You just chew it and eat it. And it
Okay.
is instantaneous. It works as well as Pepto-Bismol, really. I
But that's
love that.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's
And
amazing.
yeah, that's a good one. Let's see what else. Manzanilla, of course, is good for digestion. Toronjil morado. That is a good one.
What is
Okay.
it called?
Toronjil morado. Let me pull that one up too.
Okay.
That
And I'm
works.
putting these in the chat, everyone, so you can just, this is really good information you can get in the chat that Camille is sharing with us. And then when we're done with this, I want to talk about the other books that you're covering on herbal medicine, the other series in December, you said it's coming out?
Yeah, that's where I'm pulling these from.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so that's one. I have a plant, a toronjil plant.
Oh, you do?
You have to be careful with this one because toronjil is also known as, it's also, what is it, citronella, melissa. It has different names, but this is the one you want, the one I put the link for.
Okay.
Because, yeah, again, there's that whole name thing that you don't want to have. Okay. Flor de Manita, remember I said it was a sedative. It also works for the stomach, okay? And so I'm going to pull that one up too. I just think this plant is just awesome. So monkey hand tree, devil's hand, it's an interesting plant.
Okay.
But that one will help. Romero, we talked about. Fennel and hinojo.
Oh, fennel, some powerful stuff.
Fennel and coffee is the remedy, okay?
Oh, the mixture of the two? How does that taste?
Yes, you make the coffee, okay, and then you boil the fennel plant or the fennel seeds in it, and then you strain it and drink it on an empty stomach for digestive issues. Okay. Another interesting one that is great is cempasúchil and chocolate. Okay.
Chocolate.
Hot chocolate, of course, chocolate is native to Mexico here.
Yes.
It was only ever used as a medicinal drink. It was not a luxury drink. This was medicine. And in fact, there's an expression in Spanish to dar su propio taza de chocolate. It means to give someone a cup of their own medicine. It doesn't mean you're giving them a cup of chocolate. It means you're giving them a dose of their own medicine. Someone did something to you, you're going to do something to return to it, because chocolate has always been medicinal. So chocolate, of course, is not the sweetened chocolate that we think of. Mexican chocolate is very different, has a different texture, has cinnamon in it as well. And if you add,
it's delicious. I love it.
If you add cempasúchil, which is the Aztec marigold, which are blooming right now because we're just past the Dia de Muertos. Add that to your chocolate, and again, it helps with the digestion. So it's like an evening treat. Okay. So that's another one. Alaka we talked about. Let's see. And ruda is another one they recommend. I don't like the flavor of it. I think it's too strong.
I used to use the oil in the ruda plant.
It's strong, but it's another one for digestive.
Yeah.
Lavender is another one. Again, I'm not a big fan of lavender as a digestive tea, but it works well. So you can just use the lavender flowers and leaves and make an infusion from them. You steep them in boiling water for 15 to 20 minutes, strain and serve with honey, and it will help with digestion as well. Okay. So
these are good remedies.
Flor de azar is another one, which is orange blossoms. Flor de azar is another plant that it means citrus blossoms technically. So when you ask for flor de azar, you may get orange, lime, lemon, and there's another plant that's a citrus plant. It might not necessarily be orange blossoms, but they all work similarly because they're all from the same family.
They're all from the same family. Okay. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. She's sharing a lot of good tidbits here, a lot of good information on natural remedies. So digestion, we know it's ginger, rosemary, basil, mint, jamaica, red geranium. You said your husband just pops one in his mouth, right?
The leaf, yeah.
It's crazy. You said it's better than Pepto-Bismol. Is that the one?
No,
That's
the
great.
Wandering Jew for me works like
Oh,
Pepto-Bismol.
Wandering Jew, that's the name of it. She says you have to be careful with the names, so that's, you have to do a little bit of research. And would you say there's like one maybe authoritative book in Spanish that's, and all the
I
different
have gone
remedies
through
in
every
Mexico?
single book. When I do these little researches, I've tried to get accurate information, and in every single book, I have found errors, like major errors. I bought this one book like last year, and I was all excited because it did have local names like Corona de Cristo and things like that. And so I'm going through, and then I'm reading the description of the plant, and I'm looking at the picture, and it's not the right plant. So it was considered an authoritative text, and it was published by a reputable publishing company, but it was inaccurate. So
And that was a book produced here in
no,
Mexico?
it was a U.S. book.
Okay.
The book was this woman's collection. She actually talked with different herbalists, curanderas, that were Mexican descent but living in the United States. So I think what happened is the plants that they used in their herbalism were similar to what they had used in Mexico, but they're not the same plant. So it's I haven't found any authoritative source that's been 100% which is why I'm writing these books, because I think this is useful information.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's so much to dig into here. Why don't we talk about deworming? And this is something that I believe you should do it across the board, no matter where you live. But it's a very common thing in developing countries, and I know people in the United States do it as well. But deworming, you're supposed to do it maybe twice a year or so. If you want to walk us through that process, and if you know any natural, herbal remedies for deworming.
Well, yes, a lot of them are going to overlap with the digestive herbs, because they help not only calm your stomach but release the parasites. So there are specific ones. We mentioned papaya earlier. Papaya is one that's used commonly. Another one is, let me pull up my thing here. Let's see. Retama is another one, and I actually don't know what that is in English. Let me pull it up. That one is the yellow trumpet bush. Okay, that's another one specifically for worms. Okay.
Yellow trumpet bush.
Yes. Another one that calabaza seeds. Actually, that is one of the best.
Pumpkin seeds. Right.
That is one of the best ways to do.
Pumpkin seeds are very powerful.
I think it's Chicolote. Let me double check Chicolote. Chicolote is a plant that grows where I live, and I think it's the Mexican prickly poppy. And yes, this one is also anti-parasitic. Okay. So that's another one. It's very common. You can find it anywhere. Actually, I'll pull it up so you can see it. And that one, you make an infusion with the leaves for that one. So, but yeah, pumpkin seeds really is the best one. If you can do pumpkin seeds.
Pumpkin seeds, it's true.
You don't need anything else.
Okay. And they're available. They're available in the Mercados. At least around here, they're relatively easy to get. Okay, I'm going to send some links in the. How many did you send me just now? 2?
Just one.
Okay, I got it. I'm going to put this in the chat so you can have it. Okay, so please check out these links. And if you want to talk about your book coming up, the other book in the series, of the herbal series.
Yes. Okay. I have one that's out and one that is 2 that are out right now. And in fact, actually, if I want to take a look at
my friend Anna says that yellow trumpet was extremely toxic. And
no, it's not yellow trumpet bush. No. It's a different one. Let me pull it up. Yes, I know which one you're talking about. Yes, that the Floribunda is toxic. We don't want that one. That's not this one.
Can you make me coffee?
Let me pull it up.
The Truly Fatal said, I've taken oregano oil. Is there something similar?
Oregano oil? You can get oregano oil here.
But she said, he or she is saying, is there something similar? Similar in terms of a digestive aid or deworming aid? Oh, I guess this individual is taking it as a deworming aid. Maybe that's what they're saying. Is that what
Well,
you're
it would
saying?
work as digestive, yes. It does work as a digestive oregano. It is found here in Mexico. It's served commonly with menudo and things like that. So, retama is
I'm not eating any menudo. I don't eat offal.
no. Well, I did this little study on that too. It's not the menudo itself that is good that helps for the crudo. It is the laurel leaves and the avocado leaves that they add to it. So if you have a tea with laurel leaves and avocado leaves, you will get the same effect without having to eat menudo. Okay.
I'm not eating offal.
All right, I can't find it. It's not the Floribundo, okay? But I want to make sure that is clear because yes, the Floribundo is very toxic. It is used in some remedies, but you don't want.
So the Truly Fatal, yeah, for deworming, pumpkin seeds are really good for deworming. Papaya is also another one that she mentioned, right? But pumpkin seeds is really good for deworming, the Truly Fatal. That's it, the person's name, Truly Fatal. Pumpkin seeds for deworming.
All right. It is Tecoma stans. Yellow elder is the name of that in English. Okay. So
okay.
I'll pull that up so that you can see that it's a different plant. Because yes, there are plants that are poisonous. Over here. That one. Okay. This is the yellow trumpet bush that I'm talking about, not the Floribundo. Okay. So.
Okay, you're going to share the screen? Okay, great.
Yes, I just wanted to pull this one up. This is the last slide. I sent Roxana these, so I think the slides are going to be available to download so you can see the cough remedy that's there. But this is the last slide that's on that.
Okay, let me, the last thing that you just sent me, right?
It's the last slide in the share. I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to send it to the chat. Okay, there you go. So there's a lot of her book, pieces of her book in the chat. And are you sharing your screen right now?
Yes. So.
Okay, let me see. Do I need to do something? Add to stream. Okay.
Yeah.
Aha, there we go.
Okay, so these are my books. I just wanted to show you the covers for them. The first one, volume 1, has been out for about a year now. The second one I released last month, volume 2. You can see some of the plants that we talked about today on the covers. On volume 1, we have Jamaica, Cempasúchil, Poinsettia, Chirimoya. Oh, they're in season right now.
What is a poinsettia good for? Do you remember?
Mostly you use the sap. The sap is used for wound binding and it has antimicrobial. So you don't. In some areas, it's prescribed to increase mother's milk, but I wouldn't recommend that. Okay, so it mostly works as a topical agent. And then in volume 2, we have the peyote, the flor de manita. This is the chicolote, the one I talked about just recently. And this last one is, it has a name, and I want to say YOLO something or other, but it is native to Mexico. It is only found in certain regions in Michoacan, and it is an incredible plant. There have been only a few studies done on it because it was miscategorized for so long. But the ones this is used in, I have a tea mixture, and this is the flower that's used in that as a sedative property. So I did some research on that. So
very good.
And in the center here, next month, I'm waiting for my friend to finish drawings. This one, Traditional Mexican Cold and Flu Remedies, which will have the cough remedy that we talked about earlier, and a lot of these other things, how they're treated here. Okay. Because a lot of areas of Mexico don't have excuse me, don't have access to medical facilities. And so a lot of people begin their treatment at home. If it's something they can treat at home, they do it at home. If you have an upset stomach, you don't run to the doctor, you take lemon tea or something like
Oh,
that.
absolutely. Absolutely. This is really
So,
good stuff. Yeah,
yes.
this is really good stuff. And when is that book? Well, we're just waiting on the illustrator, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting on the illustrator. It should
Okay.
be hopefully at the end of the month is what I'm planning.
Okay.
She only has a few more things. Her illustrations are incredible.
Okay.
So they are totally worth waiting for.
Okay. So you hear that she has another book covering, respiratory cold and cough, flu type symptoms for later on this month, sometime in December. So that's going to be a good book to have. And like always, if you can just get it, if you can prevent, well, if I can prevent going to the doctor necessarily, I'll definitely do that.
Yes, I even
Okay.
have a section on different things that you can have include in your diet that improve your immunity. So that's really what we're going for. We don't want to treat after
Fortifying
the
our immune
fact.
system.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm a big proponent of my vegetables and exercising and eating well, being on the offensive than the defensive. If anyone has any questions for author Camille, we'd appreciate it. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, the Truly Fatal, and I think her name is Vicky. Let me go up, scroll up front. Thank you, Vicky, for participating. She's way up. If anyone has any questions or want to contribute anything, why don't you let us know where else they can find you? Let us know you could put it in your private chat and I'll list it, your website, so they can follow you. And I know how to get to the private chat and I'll put it in here.
Because in the Facebook or in the
you can put in the private chat. I know how to get to it and pop it in here.
all right.
I just saw the two messages after the fact.
Okay.
Yeah. So click on their private chat and then I'll just copy paste it in here. Okay, got it. All right. Surviving Mexico is author Flores's main website, survivingmexico.com, and she's an author of many books on children's books, living in Mexico sustainably, being successful, finding work. Okay, so it's really like a how-to guide on surviving life in Mexico and being successful here. Oh, there's something else in the private chat. Let me see. Okay, there we go. There, she has two. Amazon. Okay, this is her Amazon link where you can purchase her books. Okay.
And if you follow there, then you get notification when my next book is coming out. So
there you go. If you follow her, you will get notification when her next book is coming out. And it's really good information. Let me see, new comment. Okay, surviving Mexico. So this is just really good stuff. We talked about gripa, we talked about dengue. I want to say cucamonga, I'm probably not saying it correctly. Irritable bowel, deworming. And is there anything else that you'd like to share?
No, honestly, the biodiversity of Mexico is available for people to have the best health possible. I mean, there's so many different types of plants, types of natural fruits. Unfortunately, a lot of people,
muy rico en recursos.
People are moving away from traditional things. They prefer, a Burger King hamburger rather than having something more natural. And it has quite an impact on the health of people who live in Mexico. So it's available there, and people need to be reminded that it can be used to help keep our bodies in the best physical condition that it can be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember it was in March, I had the opportunity to go to a traditional healing ceremony. Well, it was a festival for an indigenous god, and I cannot remember the name. Well, the name began with an X. I do remember that, the indigenous Dios, the indigenous god of this particular area in Veracruz, not too far from where I live. And there were traditional healers there, and they did some, adjustments to the body. And we did a libation to the ancestors, and it was a wonderful, wonderful ceremony. And one of the healers there, he does a tesmal, if I'm saying it correctly, the traditional sauna traditional sauna that they do with the indigenous people do throughout the Americas. So he does it as a service, and that's something that I've always wanted to partake in. We could never coordinate our time together, our schedules, but definitely, I'm all for that, and fortifying your system, making sure your immunity system is strong, so that your body's on the offensive and not the defensive. So if I can take it in a herbal remedy, I definitely will as a daily habit. And I'm happy to, you taught me some things today that I didn't know. I have to basically go to the market. I need to learn the indigenous language here to communicate with the people who know about the herbs, the people of this area, so that I can communicate with them and get my goodies. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask author Flores. And she has a new book coming out on cold and cough in December, or maybe later on this month. And she has other 2 books in this, volume 1 and 2, and then a 3rd book is coming out very soon. So please be sure to follow. Oh, you sending me more things in the private chat? Okay.
There's a comment from the Truly Fatal.
Okay.
She asked about pregnancy and birth. I do mention some that are common. I am going to do a specialized book coming out next year, though. I really need to research more information on that. But there is an entire process after giving birth. Certain areas have a cleansing process. There's a 40-day period. Certain things are given to the mother, certain things are prohibited the mother. And so I want to make sure I get that all right. But that is my next little research project. I'm very excited about it.
I went very modern because these things this is like, indigenous, Asian, African, Arab, we have all these home remedies. And I remember after I gave birth to my daughter, I took a bath and my mother was rubbing my stomach, and her father was like, oh, you have to use ginger and all these different things they were telling me to do. So, and I love that. I love rituals. I love rituals and traditions. And I think these are things that are important to pass down. So the Truly Faithful, yes, please look out for her book on, pregnancy and postpartum care. That'll be very interesting to cover. That part of my life is over.
Yes, but there are other parts that you still need some.
I'm interested in what you talked about, the hormonal. Okay, you mentioned the Flor de Manita.
And Flor de Manita.
Yeah, so that I'm very interested in, because that's the stage, perimenopause, and that's something that should be explored and spoken about more, amplified women who are perimenopausal and menopausal, as opposed to, going through pregnancy and all of that. So I'm interested in that. Even what you got to manage teenage daughters who are hormonal. And if you got any remedies there, let me
sedative. The sedative teas.
My daughter said I can hear you. Yeah, give her some to make her be quiet. Just attitude. Gosh. The Flor de Manita and KS, and Jamaica, Jamaica is very easily accessible. You told me you went to is it Vivero, right? To the live plant place. I need to see if I can get one. I don't know. Did they tell you like a particular time in which to grow it? Like when should I know?
No, and in fact, the person had 2 different types. There is a type that has, both of them are used for Jamaica, but there's a type that has green leaves and a type that has red leaves. So the type that you want is the type that has green leaves but a red stem. That is more potent than the other one. So that's what he told me.
Jamaica, green leaves with a red stem.
And the flower, of course, is going to be either a white or a very light pink. There are other types of hibiscus plants. Those are not what you use for any of the remedies or the drink. Okay. So there's a lady in one of my groups that her husband's family harvests them. They grow them and then they harvest them. And she was telling me how they chop them all down. I'm like, they chopped them down.
Oh my goodness.
Because it's a fast growing plant. And so every 3 or 4 years, they chop them all down to harvest them and then plant new ones. And I'm just, dying because it's taken me so long to get this plant, and it had like mold on the leaves, and I was panicking, and so.
Do you use the plant in your home remedies, or is it decorative? Okay, because I want a Jamaica plant now, because I want plants. I need plants, but I want something with purpose. And I definitely
get
want
the Wandering Jew plant. Get that one, the sinvergüenza. because that you just eat the leaf and it's great for your stomach issues.
I definitely need that. Okay. And anyway, before I go to the people, I'm like, hey, Camille, this is what I need. What I'm gonna tell this man. What I'm gonna tell the lady. Okay. Anna says thank you. The Truly Fatal says thank you, and I think that's it for us. So we'll look forward to your next book coming out soon, and then we'll chat again about your next book. Okay.
Okay, sounds great.
All right. All right. Thank you, Camille. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.